name is Vikas Agrawal, and I am the founder of Altport. Alt is your alternate, and Port is your portfolio management services. So we are emerging as one of the largest platform for investing in alternate investment funds and portfolio management services. To know more about it, you can visit altportfunds.com and book a call with an expert, and they'll give you more idea about it. All right. So without any further ado, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time out from your busy schedule and joining the call. Uh, what we'll do is as we do monthly outlook, we share our house views on the markets. I'll share my screen and share some of the data points with you. What's happening in the economy? Where are we headed? And then we can have a Q&A. So just starting now. So can you see my screen view? Okay. So welcome to the brand new show for Market Outlook by Altport. This is the data that I wanted to show it to everybody. So this has been the performance when you look at from 2015 to 2025. So I picked up various asset classes and tried comparing it. As you can see that in 2025, gold as an asset class has delivered the highest return, which is about 51%. On the last year, it delivered 27.1%. So both put together, gold in 2024 alone delivered 27%, and post that it again further on that 27, it delivered 51.9%. So gold has been the top performing asset class for the last 2 years. And what needs to be noticed here is that when you look at Nifty, I picked up Nifty 50, it has delivered 7.4% returns. And last year, Nifty 50 delivered 10%. So this year has been the poorest performance in terms of the Indian equity markets delivering the lowest possible returns. The crude is down about 13%. Bitcoin is up by 30%. MSCI emerging market is up by 31%. So that's the number that broadly we want to talk about that. This is YTD. Coming to the global uncertainty, our global uncertainty continues to go up, and there is a sharp jump to around 106862. That's a Q3 numbers, and that basically is giving you signal that global economy, their uncertainty has surged up in the last few months. I mean, this is the data that I picked up since 1992. So as you know that ever since Donald Trump has taken over as president, and talking about this tariff war which is happening between across the globe, I would say, and therefore as a result of that, this the global uncertainty index has gone up at all-time high. This is the latest data, and this is from World Uncertainty Index. What it reflects on India is almost India is also has witnessed almost 3.5 times jump in the last 1 year. So the index used to be at about 0.13%, has gone up to 0.047, almost half in the Q3 2025. So it's almost a jump by 3.6x. So investors are concerned about these tariffs, and when fear dominates headlines, asset prices often disconnect from its fundamental intrinsic values, and disciplined investors quietly accumulate good quality assets. So this is the time, I think, when the entire globe is going through very volatile time and fearful situation. I would say that those who have liquidity, those who are investors investing from 5 to 10 years point of view, I think they should take the courage of entering and accumulating good quality assets at this point of time. If not now, then when? That's the question. The other thing I want to talk about, what has really mattered to the globe, is that the two largest economy, US and China, still although the deal has been signed, but still the war is still going on, and And US and China both put together contributes almost 43% of the economy across, I mean, globally. When you look at the global GDP, it contributes almost 43%. So imagine that if you half the economy, 43% is not doing well, what will happen to the other part of the world? And that is what is happening. So despite so much of concern coming from the US as far as dealing with China, China doesn't want to supply the rare earth materials to US. Because of those things, the economies are not doing well. While it is settling down to some extent, but the concern remains there in that. So this is about India. Now coming to India. So India, basically the GST collection numbers have grown to almost 1.96 lakh crores for the first time in India this time. So it rose by almost 4.6%, and this is after deducting the tax slabs, as in the GST2 reforms. And the net collection was about 1.7 lakh crores. This is after refund. So when you compare this from April to October data, last 6 months of data, then I would say it is up by almost 9% vis-a-vis the last year. So almost 13 lakh crores versus last year. And what is driving the growth is, of course, festive demand, strong business activities. And you know that recently the government of India announced that another reform on the income tax side, that up to 12 lakh rupees, you don't have to pay any taxes. So, I mean, it was very difficult to imagine that, and that has happened in India. So it indicates that there is a healthy economy momentum and robust tax compliance. At the same time, positive signs for consumer, real, manufacturing sector. So very good numbers as far as India GST is concerned, collection is concerned. And a lot of investors who have sort of perception that India is not showing any signs of growth. But if that is not showing any signs of growth, then who is paying these kind of taxes? Where the money is coming from? I think to us, this data clearly indicates that a lot of work happening at the ground level, and this kind of collection is nothing but the activity is happening at the ground level. This is data I picked up. A lot of investors last time were concerned about US putting sanctions on India, not doing trade deal with us, and our tariff rate was going up, and a lot of investors were concerned that our exports will go down. But when you look at this data, you'd be surprised to notice that our exports from April to September is actually gone up and not gone down. So what India did is basically India, except for US, so US had this concern. So what India did is that our officials have reached out to number of countries, and our exports to UAE, our exports to some of the other countries like Brazil, like Germany, has gone up in the last 6 months. And as a result of that, our exports have grown instead of degrowing the same. This is the capex. So there are two cylinders that are firing at an economy level. One is your I talked about how income tax benefits is helping the consumption to go up, and as a result of that, look at the kind of GST collections that you have at the central level. On the other side, when you look at, the government is also spending in order to boost GDP, and when you compare this between April to September, government has spent about 5,80,000 crores vis-a-vis last year, which was only 4,14,000 crores. So it's almost up by 41-42%. So you can imagine that how committed they are, the government of India, in terms of boosting the economy and ensuring that it continues to grow. Sorry. Agriculture production, that India lives in rural India, I would say, our heart lives in rural India. And this time, in fact, when you look at the data of 2024 to 25, the total grain output increased by 6.5%, and the actual number went to almost 3,500 lakh tons. So all except for sugarcane, cotton, and jute, everything was up. Like food grain was up by 1.3%, kharif was up by 1%, the rabi was up by 1.6%. Almost everything except for pulses and some sugarcane, which has delivered negative growth. But otherwise, agriculture production is only going up. It's about this year also is expected to go up by 7.5% so far. That's the number which has been reported. The other sector that is surprising us is housing sector. As you can see, all India housing prices recorded the more modest growth in 24-25, with prices declining in Delhi. Real estate activity displays buoyancy in 25-26 as reflected in the robust registration and stamp duty which is collected by state government. So, in fact, in Maharashtra, state government has collected the highest stamp duty, more particularly in Mumbai, and that clearly indicates that housing sector is booming in India. Auto numbers, very surprising numbers. Overall retail sales grew up by robust 40.5% year on year growth. And क्या होता है ना, if auto sector do well, so it gives lot of jobs to people at the ground level, and as a result of that, the economy starts growing. So the standout story for the month was rise of Bharat. Rural India became the true growth engine. Uh, you will not believe two-wheeler, three-wheeler numbers. Can you see here? Is almost up by two-wheeler was up by 51%, all-time high. First time it is recorded. Three-wheeler was up by 5.4%. Passenger vehicle was up by 11.5%. Rural PV sales grew up over 3 times faster than urban. As you can see that the rural demand is outpacing the urban demand. And two-wheeler growth, I talked about it. Look at the tractor sales, up by 14.2%. So that's the kind of, who is buying these vehicles if there is no growth? Again, I talked about it that rural and urban, so rural outpaced the urban demand and clearly indicates that if you look at tractor sales is up by, in the month of August itself, it is up by 28%. Motorcycle sales is up by 4.3%. Whereas what we are witnessing in the urban market is that the passenger vehicle sales is negative by 9%. Domestic air passenger traffic is going down, is down by minus 0.5%. So clearly, rural is August. In the month of August, FMCG sale in the rural area was up by 8.2% vis-a-vis urban, which is about 4.3%, and therefore at an all in India level, it is about 5.9%. A lot of people were surprised when the Q1 number turned out to be more than the anticipated number of the GDP. So GDP at a market price was 7.8%. As you can see that what really surprised is the private final consumption, which was up by 7% in the first quarter. The government final consumption was up by 7.4%. So both private consumption and the government capex both go hand in hand. It's going hand in hand, and therefore, and plus the as I said, both these cylinders are firing. It's called a Lollapalooza effect in the economy, which is likely to come, wherein your private consumption, your government consumption, capex, and the overall the monetary policy, which will be maintained at certain percentage. All three of them will start firing. Even the export numbers, what was expected is was about 3.5-4%, is up by 6.3%, and import it continues to be high. So that's the only area of concern. But otherwise, monetary policy was very good. It maintained the very good private and capex, private consumption and government capex. The other thing what is working well in India is the women power. So female workforce participated rate rose from 22% before COVID to 40% between 2023-24. So in the last 5 years, we saw that almost the female workforce is doubled up, and the unemployment rate also fell down from 5.6%. particularly in female, to about 3.2%. The rural female employment also grew up by 96% vis-a-vis the urban female employment, which is remain at 43%. So you see, गांव में महिलाएं जो है वो ज्यादा पार्टिसिपेट कर रही हैं ग्रोथ स्टोरी में vis-a-vis urban female employment. The number of women rising joining the formal workforce in the last 7 years, the actual number is 1.5 crores. सो 1.5 करोड़ महिलाओं ने पिछले एक साल 7 सालों में आके फॉर्मल वर्कफोर्स ज्वाइन किया, जैसे कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड जिसे कहते हैं. वुमेन लेड एसएमईज नियरली डबल्ड फ्रॉम 1 crore to almost 2 crores. So you have women founders who are coming up and starting their company and growing. So India's shift is very clear from women being participate in the economy to become driver of the growth, the entrepreneurship and the formal employment. That clearly indicates that it's shaping up well. Other thing is that you would have seen that the number of IPOs which are coming up. This is the data as on last month, where FY25 stand out with the highest amount raised, which is 1,60,000 crores. Plus you add grow also. So grow got listed this month. That number, if you add, this will become the highest to about 2.62 lakh crores. So imagine the kind of money that corporate India is raising. Earlier, there was a time when corporate had no option than to go to a bank and ask for loan. But as you can see that India is now showing a lot of improvement and maturity in terms of raising funds, and these companies are raising funds through IPOs. And there are two school of thought. One is that maybe some people would say that glass is half empty and half full, in the sense that they would say that these promoters are not confident about their growth and therefore they are diluting equities. On the other side, when somebody says that the glass is half full, would say that look, corporate market, the Indian capital market has become mature, and as a result of that, these corporates are kind of raising funds from there. So FY26 shows a strong chart, 60,000 crores raised as of September, suggesting a potential continuation to the strong IPO activities. And you will be surprised to notice that in the next 6 months, the number of IPOs which are lined up will clearly add. At least the number should go up to almost 4 to 5 lakh crores. This will be the highest as far as main board IPO is concerned, ever since our market started. So, I mean, no comparison at all of the last 10 years. That's the kind of number we are talking about. FPI flows have turned positive after a long time. So these FIIs have no option than to come back to India. They became net buyer of almost $1.5 billion, almost 10,000 crores of net equity buying happened last month. Otherwise, they have been negative for about a year now. They sold equities almost worth 1 lakh crores in the month of September last year. And ever since they started, even trend continued this year, in this calendar year, in the month of February. Again, they sold equities worth almost 1 lakh crores. And they've been selling. For the first time, they turned positive last month. Very little money of $1.5 billion. You see where the Nifty is. Nifty is almost reaching to 26,000 levels, going to be at all-time high levels. Imagine the kind of FIS money if they are waiting for India-US deal to happen. If that happens, then you will see the kind of money which will flow in India. So the flow, basically, they continue to buy financial services, oil and gas, metals for the top sector, which attracted the highest foreign inflows in the last 1 month. But last 1 month is a very small period to kind of judge what they are trying to do. This has been the historical performance of the Nifty. I picked up the data from 1995. So 1996 onwards, when you look at, since this base rate, the index has surged to an all-time high of about 26,000 levels and September, representing a 26-fold rise and an annualized return of about 12%. This is only index. by the way. If you would have invested in some of the AIFs, PMSs, or mutual funds, your returns would have been much different. Uh, this is the thematic summary of the 3 months rotation cycle. This is the data of index. So various index, like we were very bullish on consumers, consumption, FMCG. So that has done well. Healthcare. Healthcare, we are still bullish, although the last month was negative by 3%, but overall October was up by 3%. Um, Investor behavior, basically people are concerned about this markets, but when you look at investor behavior, they are looking at capital protection. Sector leaders were FMCG and durables. We have been mentioning this for the last 6 months. Some of the sector laggards were like IT, metal, chemicals, and the market overall, the tone of the market is seems to be defensive in the month of August. But when you look at same, compare that with October. So October investor behavior has shown positive thing, because a lot of downturn were getting over, and sector leaders were mid and small cap, financials, reality, IT. Some of the sector laggards were healthcare and media, but overall market tone is broad based risk on. This is the valuation. So markets are trading at about 20 copy 1 year forward. When you look at Nifty 50, 20.5, I would say, which is very much closer to the last 10 years of average, which is about 20. Uh, Again, market cap to GDP ratio, while we pick up this data, but it continues to demand premium, because India is the only country perhaps in the world which is growing at about 6.5, 6.6%. Let's see, the latest data is yet to come, but this is almost double than the total numbers of across the globe. So clearly indicates that when you have these kind of growth coming in, obviously the country will demand the valuations at the premium. And historically also, when you look at India, India always traded about 20 ka P, and this will continue to happen. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation, and thank you so much for taking the time out. I would be happy if you have any questions, so I would be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Vikas ji, and आपने पूरा market cover किया. Sorry for some glitches happened between. So I would like to my viewer question raise कर सकते हैं, and we'll unmute you. You can directly communicate with the Vikas also if you have any question. So if anybody having cannot put the message on chat, I'll unmute you. विकास जी, एक क्वेश्चन आता है कि मार्केट में अभी जो AIF एंड PMS है, यू नो दैट कि बल्क में इसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है, तो एक फोमो टाइप का है कि मार्केट एक साल से रिटर्न दिया नहीं. तो क्वेश्चन ये वन थिंग कि क्या लगता है आपको मार्केट 1 ईयर टिल दिवाली आपको मार्केट क्या लगता है?
ये बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन है कृष्णा जी, और काफी इन्वेस्टर्स का कंसर्न. देखिए, जब जब हिस्ट्री का, मैंने आपको पहली स्लाइड जो दिखाई थी, जिसमें आप देखेंगे कि जब जब किसी वर्ष किसी रीजन के वजह से मार्केट अंडर परफॉर्म करता है 1 या 2 साल तक, तो ये देखने को मिला है कि उसके अगले साल में मार्केट का जो परफॉर्मेंस होता है वो काफी अच्छा होता है. ये होता है मीन टू रिवर्जन की वजह से होता है, या उसका आप देखेंगे कि मार्केट में जो गवर्नमेंट इंटरवीन करती है और चीजों को ठीक करने की कोशिश करती है, जिससे अर्निंग्स में इंप्रूवमेंट आता है, ये एक अलग चीज है. बट ओवरऑल ये देखने को मिला कि काफी जब ये एक्टिविटीज की जाती है. कैन यू सी माय स्क्रीन?
यस यस.
तो अगर आप देखते 2015 से 2025 तक का मैंने डेटा लिया है, आप देखिए, तो 2024 में भी आप देखेंगे तो निफ्टी हैज डिलीवर्ड 16%, एंड इस साल अभी तक इट हैज डिलीवर्ड 7.4%. बट अगर आप देखते हैं कि जब इसके पहले वाले वर्ष में देखेंगे 2023 में, तो निफ्टी ने 21% का रिटर्न दिया था. उसके पहले साल देखेंगे तो निफ्टी ने 5.7% का रिटर्न दिया था. आप देखिए, तो ऐसे जिगजैग चल रहा है. देखिए, तो उसके पहले वर्ष में निफ्टी ने 31% का रिटर्न दिया था, और उसके पहले 2020 में निफ्टी 500 का 17% रिटर्न था, और उसके पहले आप देखेंगे तो निफ्टी का 9% का रिटर्न था. उसके पहले 4.6% का रिटर्न था. तो जब जब एक लो बेस से आया, उसके पिछले साल में निफ्टी का 30% का रिटर्न था। देखिए 30 से 5 हुआ, 5 के बाद 9 हुआ, ये दोनों वर्ष खराब गए। उसके बाद 16% का ग्रोथ हुआ, आप देखिए, और निफ्टी 500 में 17% का। फिर उसके बाद अगले साल 25% का रिटर्न आया। फिर उसके बाद खराब हुआ 4.3 का। फिर उसके बाद थोड़ा मॉडरेट हुआ 21% का। तो ये बोलना बहुत ही मुश्किल होगा कि क्या करेगा, बट नोइंग द फैक्ट दैट पिछले 2 साल खराब गए हैं, और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने, मैंने आपको दिखाया, काफी काम किया है, काफी इंटरवेंशन किया है, काफी फंड्स बैंक में पंप किए। इंटरेस्ट रेट साइकिल भी आप देखते हैं तो इंटरेस्ट रेट में काफी उन्होंने रेट्स में काफी कमी की है, और आगे भी करते रहेंगे। अभी 25 पैसे का और भी एक्सपेक्टेड है कि अगले क्वार्टर में रिवाइज होना चाहिए। तो इस तरह के अगर पॉलिसीज मेंटेन होती है तो मेरा मानना है कि अर्निंग्स जो है वो वापस लौट आएंगी, क्योंकि मार्केट को अर्निंग्स की लैंग्वेज ही समझ आती है। और अगर आप देखते हैं कि अर्निंग्स आएंगी तो ऑब्वियसली आप देखते हैं कि मार्केट जो है रिबाउंड करेगा।
थैंक यू। एंड सेकेंड क्वेश्चन हमारे रवि जी पूछ रहे हैं कि आई अलाउ टू रवि टू स्पीक डायरेक्टली। रवि जी, मैंने आपको अलाउ किया, यू कैन आस्क योर क्वेश्चन। रवि जी, रवि जी का क्वेश्चन था कि आपको क्या लगता है कि मिड एंड स्मॉल कैप स्टॉक आने वाले टाइम पीरियड में व्हाट
Yeah,
इज
so it was
आउटलुक?
similar, I think similar question to the previous one.
या या रवि जी पूछिए।
No, it was a similar question to the previous question. My question was more about what is the outlook for small and mid caps, but I think you kind of said that, you know, it's going through a cycle of 1 year good, 1 year bad. So hopefully we should come out of it.
Yeah, I mean, not necessary. What I'm trying to tell you is that in the last 1.5 years, what we witnessed is that the government of India has done a lot of good work in terms of ensuring that these two cylinders that I talked about should start firing, which is the government capex as well as the private consumption. And they've taken all sort of measures and ensuring that there is a backup given by the interest rate cycle. So interest rates have also come down. So when you are in an economy where your cost of capital goes down, your inflation goes down, your government capex goes up, your private consumption is going up. You see the kind of GST collection which is coming in, and on top of that, imagine if FIIs may come back. They have invested about almost 10,000 crores in the month of October. If they continue to buy 10,000 crores, 10,000 crores, or they should stop selling at least. Let me put it this way: even if they stop selling, then also there are chances that market should do good. I mean, you see, despite taking out almost 2.5 lakh crores in the last 15, 16 months, markets they were not going below 80,000 levels. You can imagine the kind of resilience it has shown. And the other thing is that the kind of money which is coming in from domestic investors like you through SIPs. So your SIP inflow alone is about 25,000 crores in India, and which does not allow. So it basically observing all the sellings which is happening by FII. So we are no more dependent on them. If they come, nothing like it, welcome them. But otherwise, I strongly believe that if there is no concern coming from US, and if India US deal signs up, I mean they both come together, then there are chances that market should do well. Especially mid and small cap, I agree that it has fallen down. Some of the stocks are down to the tune of 40-50% vis-a-vis the index, which is only down about 5-10% from its peak. And they should also bounce back. So first index will reach wherever it is supposed to reach, and then you will see that the non-index stocks will start appreciating, and that is where your recovery, the chances of your portfolio's recovery would be much higher.
I had one more question. So don't you think that the market's already overvalued, and it's just that because of domestic liquidity, they're just going higher and higher? And several stocks you also see are seeing a bit of correction, even like in some real estate stocks, etc., which are overvalued, are getting kind of corrected.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that we are very gung-ho about all the sectors. No, there will be some sectors and some specific companies which will do well, and some of the sectors will continue to underperform. Look at IT, for example, because their correlation with US is so high, and you know what is happening with H-1B visa. And as a result of that, the number of contracts which are supposed to come from the US has gone down by almost 25% in the last 1 year. So we are not bullish about it. So what I'm saying is that there will be few sectors which will do well. There will be few sectors which will not do well. Market is not due for correction for sure, because already has corrected to some extent in the last 15, 16 months. And it is consolidated at the same level for the last 6 months, to be very precise, despite FII is taking the money out. What can go wrong now? Let me put it in. So when you look at, let's look at the mix. So FIIs had about almost 21, 22% kind of exposure to our Indian equity, which is a decadal low. It is below 16% for the first time. And the household equity, which used to be 3%, 4%, has gone beyond FII's holding, which is about 17%. And please understand, this is retail money. It is highly scattered. It is not a button that you push like unlike FPIs, and then suddenly they start selling. It's a money from every small rickshaw wala, auto wala who has invested through SIP. So they don't react the way FPIs react in any economy, and therefore you will not have these kind of situation that both the parties coming together and selling, unless there is some kind of event like COVID or something which we don't know and which we can't predict also.
Thank you, Raviji. And second question we have Sri Balaji. Just unmute him. Balaji, आप unmute हैं and you can ask directly question with Vikas sir. Balaji. Sir, Balaji का question I can read. He asked like कि आपको क्या लगता है कि कौन सा सेक्टर आने वाले टाइम पे अच्छा करेगा?
देखिए, मुझे पर्सनली ऐसा लगता है कि जो इंडिया का जो कंजम्पशन स्टोरी है, जो इन्होंने गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने 12 लाख तक का जो लोन वे ऑफ किया है, जिससे कंजम्पशन काफी बढ़ रहा है इंडिया का. आपको मैंने अभी जीएसटी नंबर भी दिखाया, 1.96 lakh crores. Ideally, with the rate cut, it should have come down, but it has actually gone up. And there is no pent up demand. People are saying that because 20 दिन उन्होंने गाड़ी नहीं खरीदा इसीलिए सडनली आया. No, nothing like it. You will see that numbers continues to go up.
Okay, thanks.
So consumption is one sector that we are very bullish on. FMCG durables. These are the sectors that we like. Apart from that, I also believe it's a contrarian call, but infrastructure should also pick up, because the kind of money which is coming through the route of FDIs are actually going towards improving the overall infrastructure health of the economy. So while it is a contrarian call, but I have personally, and as a house, we are very bullish on some of the infrastructure stories evolving around India. And overall that, auto sector continues to do well, and we are continue to be bullish about that. Other thing is that we like is financials and healthcare. Financials, very particularly, we like NBFCs, some of the NBFCs, not the broad banks per se, because the kind of credit which is required in India, the credit growth is huge. Our credit debt to GDP ratio is lowest amongst other countries. So my sense is that it should do well. On other sector is that healthcare, I see a lot of innovation taking place, especially with help of artificial intelligence, and therefore these are the 4-5 things that we are bullish on. What is the concern at this point of time? The concern is that US is due for corrections, not from today. For the last 5-6 years, US is due for corrections, and what we are witnessing is de-dollarizations. In the sense that India is trying to ensure that rupee becomes at least a global currency as far as Asia is concerned, and therefore we are dealing with Bhutan, Nepal in rupee only, and they are using uh, uh, our QR codes also, the technology that we have developed. So what we are seeing is that US is due for corrections, but when you look at globally, only US and India, when you look at 10 years, 20 years, has delivered these kind of returns and has grown as an economy to that extent. And those who are bullish on China are regretting that they took a call on China, because China saw huge amount of volatility. So I think globally, India looks to be very promising, resilient, and sustainable growth. So from that perspective, we continue to be bullish on India in the next 10 years.
Thank you. Balaji, आप unmute करके अपना question, if you have any other question you can ask. Otherwise, last viewer आप अपना question hand raise करके पूछ सकते हैं. So I can unmute you. बालाजी का second question was like कि आपको क्या लगता है आने वाला 1-2 साल में, like previous question was similar but मिड कैप, स्मॉल कैप, लार्ज कैप में कौन सा बढ़िया करेगा आने वाले 1-2 साल में?
देखिए, हिस्टोरिकली अगर देखते हैं तो स्मॉल कैप्स हैव आउट परफॉर्म द लार्ज कैप, but large cap is not moving anywhere, and there is no P rating which is happening in the large cap space. So from a safety point of view, I would say that large cap looks good. But from a return point of view, there is no option then to go to small cap companies. I believe that mid cap have become little expensive, some of the mid caps, because the way SEBI categorize them is the top 100 is your large cap, 100 to 250 is your mid cap. So mid cap looks to be overcrowded and little bit of expensiveness is there. Otherwise, large cap looks to be good from a conservative point of view, and small cap will do well. I have no doubt in my mind that if you compare these large cap and small cap, then small cap has potential to deliver higher returns, because a lot of new companies are coming to the main board and getting listed. You see yesterday what happened. Grew, which was started, I remember in front of my eyes when I used to be in Bangalore. This company was started from Koramangalam 2015-16 times, and today look at the yesterday they had the highest record high 1 lakh crores of market cap. There are companies in this space for the last 25 years has not reached to that kind of market cap. So this is both put together, Motilal and Nuama and all put together, the total market cap is alone growth market cap. So a lot of new companies are coming up. So I strongly believe that small cap may look small now, but has potential to become large in the next 10 years, as we become $10 trillion economy 10 years down the line.
क्वेश्चन हमारे गिरीश पुरोहित जी से, और गिरीश पुरोहित जी आपको मैंने अलाउ कर दिया, आप अनम्यूट करके डायरेक्टली पूछ सकते हैं. गिरीश जी आप हैं उधर?
You hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yeah. So I just wanted to check. I mean, this year end, so I mean, market will end flat only till December end, like around 26K only, and then only we start seeing growth next year.
Very difficult to say, sir. But I am being a little optimistic here that what numbers that I see here is that FIIs now are turning positive. They've been net buyers in India. Market yesterday was up by 500 points, and Nifty crossed 26,100 levels for the first time after a long gap. So I see that momentum is building up, and it can surprise all of us.
Okay. Thanks.
You are on mute, Krishna ji.
Thank you, Girish ji. And viewer, if you have any other question, you can put on the chat and you can ask directly. I can unmute you. I think there is no more questions, sir. We can conclude now.
Okay.
And thank you so much, viewer. And thank you so much, Vikas ji, for टाइम निकालने के लिए और इस पॉडकास्ट के लिए, वेबिनार के लिए, जो मार्केट आज के टाइम पे काफी फोमो में लोग हैं, उसको क्लियर आउट करने के लिए थैंक यू सो मच ऑल ऑफ यू. थैंक यू विकास जी.
Thank you. Thanks all the investors for taking the time out from your busy schedule, giving me a patient hearing. My job is to share these data points with you every month and give you perspective about where are we headed as an economy, because we can't predict the markets. Nobody can predict the markets. If anybody says that they can predict the markets, like he's joking around or he may be a joker. So very difficult to say, but you can guess based on certain data points that what's happening in the economy. And therefore we deep dive. We have a team of research. They're all the members of the part of research team. Our full-time job is to keep an eye on various asset classes, various instruments, what's happening broadly, globally, in India, macro, micro, and see and put some numbers out, and then analyze that where are we headed. So very difficult to see where the short-term markets are, but broadly we get to know where what's happening in the economy, and based on that we can help you take the right decisions. With that, I'd like to conclude here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.